From today's TMJ4.
This is breaking news now.
And that breaking news from today's TMJ4, a police officer shot an armed robbery suspect at a Walgreens at Fond du Lac and Hampton earlier this morning. A police source indicates that it may have been an off-duty officer who happened upon this armed robbery in progress and engaged the suspect. We understand a couple more suspects may be in custody, and we do not believe the injuries to the suspect who was shot to be life-threatening.
Good afternoon.
Here's Police Chief Edward Flynn.
I'm going to give you our preliminary information of what we generally know now. Understand the Department of Justice is on the scene. They are conducting the investigation. Obviously, when they're ready to give information, there will be a great deal more detail than I'm in a position to give at this time. This is what I can tell you. At approximately 10 minutes before 10 this morning, officers assigned to an anti-robbery detail here in District 7, dealing with a rash of armed robberies of Walgreens and other pharmacies for drugs, observed two males enter the premises masked and hooded, while a third male waited outside in an idling motor vehicle that did not have any license plates. Officers detained that individual and entered the store. While in the store, they encountered an armed suspect, a plainclothes Milwaukee police officer, age 57, with 22 years on the job, fired one round, striking the suspect. That suspect is at Frederick Hospital right now, being treated for serious injuries. A firearm was recovered at the scene. And as I indicated earlier, the Department of Justice is conducting the investigation. That's all I have.
Can you tell us, Chief, whether the suspect pulled the gun on the officer, fired a shot?
All of that information is going to have to come from the Department of Justice investigation. I know for a fact that a firearm was at the scene, and I know what I've otherwise relayed to you.
The suspect doing right now? How many times was he shot? Where on his body?
I don't have his official medical condition. I understand he was struck once, and I understand that he has a very serious injury requiring extensive work.
Can you tell us how many other pharmacies were robbed, what kind of rash this is, and what about...
Well, this was the second robbery today of a CVS. One happened earlier today. There have probably been a half a dozen. We've had a number of different series of pharmacy robberies for drugs in the last 4 months. We've arrested other crews for these robberies, but it has become a fashionable crime to stick up pharmacies to rob them of prescription pills and sell them.
Did the suspect execute the robbery? If he did, what type of drugs did he take?
All of that information is going to have to come from DCI. As I say, our information is preliminary. This is what we saw. This is our understanding from what we were told, but further details will have to come from them.
And inside,
the other customers, employees were in the proximity.
So our understanding, there were some witnesses there. They're going to be interviewed.
Did you say there were two suspects in the store?
For our understanding, there were two in the store and one in the car.
Where's the other suspect? Has he been apprehended?
They're all in custody.
And inside the Walgreens, there's a lot of surveillance video. Have you taken that? Have you looked at it yet?
DCI will certainly take a close look at that surveillance video, and I'm sure that will be part of the investigation.
Did it capture the shooting?
My understanding is that it did.
Chief, if in fact a weapon was drawn on an officer, it sounds like there may be some similarities, certainly in the way this played out, to the recent dollar store incident. Can you talk at all about that disturbing trend, perhaps, of officers being confronted by armed suspects in a robbery in progress?
Well, our officers know that they're working in a dangerous environment right now. There's a lot of shots being fired in this city, a lot of gunplay, a lot of non-fatal shootings, a lot of homicides with guns, a lot of bad guys with guns, and a lot of armed robbers using these guns to commit holdups. So our coppers know they're in a dangerous situation, and we pay them every day to get out there and confront this. So it's obviously a level of ambient stress in this department all the time, but given the recent extraordinary amount of gunplay the city has seen, it's certainly amplified that.
And procedurally, what happens with the officer now?
He's going to be put on administrative duty until the investigation is completed. Okay? All right, thank you.
Just before noon, Milwaukee Police Chief Edward Flynn wrapping up his news conference, sharing what details he can about an officer-involved shooting there on Milwaukee's northwest side of the Walgreens, 67th and Hampton. The chief confirming that one suspect was shot. He says that a gun from that suspect was recovered on scene. Says the suspect was shot by a plainclothes officer who happened to be on an anti-robbery detail, responding to exactly these sorts of things. They observed a car waiting in the parking lot, and two suspects entering that Walgreens, both wearing masks, appearing to go in to attempt to rob the pharmacy of pharmaceuticals. Those officers engaged the suspects. One of the officers fired, hitting that suspect. He was taken to Frederick Hospital with what the chief described as a serious injury. Did not know the outlook for that particular suspect. The other two taken into custody. One of the reasons the police chief cannot share more details is the investigation of what went down here is now pretty much out of his hands. Per state law now, State Department of Justice will be investigating this officer-involved shooting, and the information then will come from state DOJ. Well, that's the latest from this breaking news scene. We've got a full hour of local news coming your way at noon. We're going to take a quick break and be right back after this.